is brought to you by Squarespace. Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. Today we're doing a voiceover talking about productivity because quite frankly, my life is in shambles. So it was time that I got organized and I thought it would be fun to share that with you. Today I decided to try out a new cafe near where I live called Sprout. It turned out to be absolutely beautiful and I want to live there. So shout out to Sprout, who didn't know I was making this video. I just shot a bunch of clips while I was working. But yeah, I recently moved to the Okanagan region in British Columbia, which is part of the reason why I'm so utterly disorganized. Moving really shakes up your life, you know? You think you'll be able to move into a new place and just get settled in a few weeks and everything, but no, sir, no. It's not how it works. So, I moved, but it's also the first year after graduating from my master's degree where I'm just like fully self-employed and I'm never going back to school. So I just wanted to walk you through what I did during this little work session. I say little, it was like 4 hours or something. Where I tried to just get back on track because I was feeling like my life had gotten away from me. Like there was an infinite list of things to do and I would never catch up on them, but that's not true. And all you need to do is these 4 steps. So yeah, the first thing was catching up on emails. So here you can see me just literally typing away. Emails are probably like one of my greatest stressors. They take up so much of my time. And like, I'm obviously grateful for emails, right? Like it's great to be reached out to and to have people wanting to collaborate with me in a number of ways, but they just take up so much time. And I forget where I heard it put this way, but someone said that an email, like your inbox, is like an infinite to-do list that other people control. And ever since I've started conceptualizing of it that way, it just feels so true to me and has made me realize that I need boundaries with it because it is, first of all, infinite. It never stops, right? The emails keep coming in. But not only is it infinite, you do not control your inbox, right? You don't control who emails you and who doesn't. You just wake up and see what happened. So yeah, it always helps me. Like, it's one of the first things I kind of try and do because, you come into this day full of a little bit of anxiety. You can't be full of a little bit, can you? Whatever. You've got this anxiety of all of these emails that are like knocking. It does kind of feel like people knocking on your door. So you have to kind of go and answer it. So yeah, it always just calms me down and makes me feel a bit more on top of things if I reply to the urgent emails and then kind of just assess what it is that is sitting in my inbox. So then the next step, and this is the best step, this is like the thing that I most recommend everybody do, is to write everything down. And like by that I mean you're feeling disorganized, you have all of these things that you need to do, you have all of these tasks that you need to catch up on. I swear to you, half of the problem is that you haven't written it down. Like, our minds are good at many things, but also bad at many things. And one of the things they're bad at is juggling 40 pieces of information. Like remembering that you need to go and go to the post office and pick something up and do your dishes and do your laundry. And like those are just your home tasks. Then you've also got to call this person and call that person and email this human and email that human and catch up on this. And don't forget to do that. And like, there's all of these things and you're somehow trying to remember them all. Like half of your anxiety is just that you're gonna forget them and that like you'll be walking through, like throughout your day, you'll be walking and suddenly one of the things that you kind of forgot pops back into your mind and you're like, oh my God, I forgot about that. I still have to do that too. It's overwhelming. So the first thing you gotta do if you're feeling disorganized is just sit down and write down everything you need to do. Like just everything you need to do. And what will help, like what helps me is to do little categories. So you can see I did categories for personal, for Patreon, for YouTube. I also did one for the Reading Rush, which is a readathon that I run that just happened, but there's still things that I need to like tie up at the end of that event. So I just let it all out. And genuinely, in what this takes like half an hour or something, maybe not even, at the end of that you're already feeling so much better, because it makes you realize that your to-do list is not infinite. Like, obviously our lives are infinite, and therefore not infinite. They're not infinite. We will die, but you know, we have all of these years ahead of us to do like a bunch of different things. But the things that you're worried about are not infinite. You can actually write them down, and even if there's 50 of them, there isn't a million of them. There's 50, or there's 25, or there's 13, right? Like, you write them down, and suddenly it gets to a point where you realize you wrote it all down. That's it. That's all the things you have to do. And maybe like throughout the next few hours or day or whatever, you'll remember one or two other things that didn't occur to you during the like planning session, but that's fine. It's one or two more things. You'll write them down, and it's just such a relief to have that stressful stuff that you're trying to remember externalized. Like, it's not in your brain anymore, it's just somewhere else, and you can look at it and you can understand, this is doable. It's going to take me some time, but she sure is doable. So yeah, it's just a big info dump. That's it. Just let it all out. Now, step 3 is maybe not a necessary step, but I just found it very helpful, is to journal. So I had now done, like, the whole point of this work session for me was to kind of try and just get back into understanding what my goals are, what I'm trying to achieve, etc. But once I'd done that information dump, I now felt less like a notepad of information, of tasks, like less like a human to-do list, and more like a human. And suddenly I had all these things down, and I was like, okay, now I don't have to worry about forgetting all of those things, and they're not gonna like fall away. They're right there. They're safe. They're sound. I know what they are. They're right there. Now I can kind of focus on myself for a minute. And it was really nice to kind of just use that moment to journal. I don't know. I just wrote about my day, and I wrote about what was happening, and I wrote about the nice cafe that I was at, and I wrote about like what was going on in my life. And at a certain point, as you can see, my hands cramped up because I'm not used to writing. Which is so funny. Like, as an adult, you don't actually write that much. Obviously, like, profession specific, if you are in a profession where you have to write a lot, I guess that's the exception. But like, you don't write that often. And so once you've gotten out of doing it for a while, it's very exhausting on the hands. Yeah, but it just felt really nice because, again, the point of this session, and like, if you're trying to get organized, I would encourage you that the point of that sit down session is to relieve yourself of all of the things that you're keeping in your brain. And those are your to-do list items, but they're also your, get ready for it, emotions. They're also just your thoughts about your life, and your thoughts about where you are, and how your day is going, and what's going on at your family, like with your family or at home or whatever. And letting go of those things will make you feel more organized in your work life too, because everything will feel a bit more organized. So then finally, step 4 is to redo the information dump of your to-do list. So I labeled this need to do as soon as possible. So basically, you've now written down, and my list, I should have counted, but my list had like literally 70 things that I need to do or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's a lot, but whatever, she's doable. So I have the 70 things, but even though I put them in categories, those categories were more in terms of trying to help me remember like all the different areas of my life. Like, those just kind of help me cluster things, and it just like helps my brain. But what you want to do next is organize it in terms of what needs to get done now versus later. And that's another thing that your brain is not good at. Like, your brain is going to stress out about something you need to do tomorrow and something you need to do next week. Like, if you sit down and you haven't organized yourself and you haven't written these things down, your mind doesn't know which ones are more stressful. It's like compounding all of these fears and all of this stress and anxiety to the point where it's just stressed. So if you, though, sit down and you think to yourself, okay, what are the things I need to do right away versus things that can wait till next week versus the things that can wait till next month or whatever. Oh, wow, okay. Turns out I only need to do 4 things today and I'll be okay, right? So I broke this into 4 categories. Easy. So these are for like tasks that actually I've been stressed about, but I could knock them off in a minute or 2. Like replying to someone's text or, like sending an invoice out that I need to get paid for something, but I've just forgotten to submit the invoice. Like that's going to take me 5 minutes. So I create an easy category, and that category is really helpful for me because a lot of the time you're working really hard and you're getting tired and it just feels all like it's insurmountable. But if you have a little easy task that you can just knock off and is very productive, it makes you feel more motivated. Then I have an important category. So these are like things that are definitely important and I need to remember to do, but they're not like, if I don't do them right now, I'll still be okay. And then I have a category called urgent. A few of these things are like, okay, I have a deadline for a sponsored video and I need to get that video to this person. Or I have to email someone like really urgently and it's kind of a harder email, like it's going to take me a while to write this email down. I need to do that because this person is waiting for me. And then the 4th category is very specific to me, so maybe not even worth sharing, but I wrote down my friend Raylene, who, that's the category. The category is Raylene, who runs the Reading Rush with me because we're going to have a meeting later today, actually, where we're going to discuss some stuff, and I needed to make sure that I did like certain tasks with her that I can't just do on my own. So I wrote that category down, and these categories were now my battle plan, right? This is the I wanted to do a synonym for battle plan, and everything that came in to my mind was military related. Whatever. It was my plan of action. It was what I was now going to do. I was like, okay, well, I need to work on the urgent things because those are really like pressing, but I can intermix them with the easy things that will keep me motivated. And at the end of the session, I felt so unbelievably relieved. I just felt like, okay, wow. You know, I really felt like my life was a disastrous mess, but you know what? It's not. If I just do these few things today and these few things tomorrow, I'll be okay. And it's funny because I have to do this kind of a session every once in a while. Like every few months, I'm like, oh my God, my life is in shambles. It's time for another giant informational to-do list dump where I can just let it all out and reorganize myself. Speaking of pulling things together, today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace gives you a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create a wonderful website. It lets you link to all of your different social medias, so it can work as a hub for everything that you do. They have an awesome system for site management. With their app, you can edit posts and comments. So if you go to squarespace.com/Ariel, you can get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. If you'd like to see more videos like this about, organization and productivity and being a freelancer, let me know in the comments and maybe let me know a topic you might be interested in me talking about. All right, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!